Hello and welcome to another special interview brought to you live by Creamer Institute, live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to Creamer Institute, please do like, subscribe and share on Facebook and Instagram pages and Twitter pages so you stay up to date with current programs and what's happening around Creamer Institute. My name is Nasser Hussain. I'm the Radio Dawn station manager, 107.6 FM, and we've got a really special interview with you today. If you remember, a couple of weeks back, about a month ago, we had brother Dr. Shoaib Ahmed Malik, who was talking about Islam and evolution. And today we've got Quran and science, mashallah. I'm really honored to have Dr. Basil Altaie with me today. He's actually, let me just tell you a brief thing about him, but it's too much, so I need to read it off for yourself. He's a professor of quantum cosmology at Yarmouk University, Jordan, professor of physics. Since obtaining his PhD from the University of Manchester in 1978, he has worked on fundamental research problems in quantum field theory and general relativity and has published more than 24 papers in peer-reviewed journals. Subhanallah. Over the past 40 years, Dr. Altaie has taught many physics courses and supervised numerous postgraduate research projects at Mosul University, Iraq, and Yarmouk University in Jordan. Dr. Altaie specializes in the field of Kalam, which I'm sure you're not familiar with, or Islamic scholastic theology, a discipline which he believes can provide a comprehensive view of the Islamic philosophy of nature. And I'm really excited to have Dr. Basil with me. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Basil.
Wa alaikum assalam.
And how are you today?
I am fine, thank you.
Mashallah, you're live from Leeds, I assume.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're honored to have you today. I'm really excited because I've got your book.
Yes.
The Divine Word and the Grand Design.
Beautiful, yeah.
Interpreting the Quran in the Light of Modern Science. It's a very researched book and there's a lot of information in there. And I really wanted Dr. Basil to come on today to talk about this book because I'm really excited about it. And I hope you will be too. But just before we move on, this book is actually available from Beacon Books. Is that right, Dr. Basil?
That's right. It's published by Beacon Books and it's available also on Amazon.com.
Fantastic. So if you want to check it out, that's the place to get. Amazon. That's my favorite book place anyway. So Dr. Basil, welcome again. And before we actually go into the book, which is the main theme for today, we just wanted to get a feel of who you are and introduce you to our Nottingham and our UK community, you could say, that follow us on our Facebook and social media sites. So if you could just briefly, I know I touched upon your what you're doing at the moment, but really if you just give us a feel of your academic background and how you got into physics and cosmology.
Yeah, well, my start was very early in my life. I've written my first book about the theory of relativity when I was at the age of 20.
Wow.
And the book, I was undergraduate student. And the book was published by the University of Mosul after being properly refereed by a specialist. And the book is still, although it's now more than 45 years, but the book is still has some image. It's in Arabic, unfortunately. It's only for the Arabic audience. Then I went to through a scholarship, being a prominent student. You know, I was given a scholarship by the Iraqi government.
So just before you continue, you're from Iraq originally?
I am originally from Iraq, yes, but I lived in Jordan for about 20 years. Okay. I taught at the University of Yarmouk in Jordan. And then I moved to the UK recently, 2 years ago, to join my family here. All my family are here, actually.
So starting about your studies in Iraq, you're mentioning?
Yes, I was studying in Iraq and I completed my BSc physics there, and I was given a scholarship to the UK, where I joined University of Manchester in 1974. And by 78, I completed my PhD and returned back to Iraq.
So just before we continue, why physics? Sounds Chinese to me.
Oh, physics is something to me much more than any other thing, any other science, actually. The reason is I find that the understanding physics will enable you understand the whole world, including chemistry, biology, because chemistry is actually an application of physics in certain way, and biology is also turns out to be more and more is turning to become physics, including the biological processes. So physics, that's why I had the chance actually to go to the medical school, but I prefer to go to physics. And there indeed I find myself, and I could achieve really an advanced position. By the time when I finished PhD, I was only 26, and I went back 78 to my country, and I worked as a physicist for more than 20 years, and then I went to Jordan. I was given an offer actually by the Yarmouk University, and it was a good offer indeed. I enjoyed my time in Jordan. Published, although you said 2 dozen of research paper, actually it is double that, because this number is old. This is number about, I have 50 peer-reviewed journals, journal papers published through my career. Now I am working with the theory group at Leeds University, and we are intending to work on quantum time. Some fundamental problems, yes, in quantum mechanics, and hopefully some fundamental development would come out of this endeavor.
So how did you find your time in Jordan? Because I know Jordan has Petra, which is one of the wonders of the world as well.
Yes, indeed. Jordan is a very beautiful country, you know, small country with small population, relatively small population compared to neighboring countries, but it is really a beautiful country, beautiful people. I lived there for 20 years. And I was productive during those 20 years. I wrote about 10 books, published about 9 books exactly. 2 of them in English. The one you mentioned is The Word, the Divine Word, and the Grand Design. And there is another book which was published earlier in 2016 in English. It is God, Nature, and the Cause, philosophical, mostly philosophical, science and religion topics. But this one is specifically about the Quran, in fact.
So at the moment, is this the first one that you have here by Beacon Books and Amazon? Is this the only one available at the moment?
Yeah, it is available from Amazon, but the earlier book, which was printed in the United States and Malaysia at the same time, is God, Nature, and the Cause. God, Nature, and the Cause.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So in terms of this book, why did you decide to write this specific topic?
Yeah, it's a good question indeed. The motivation behind writing these books, I can summarize it by saying that I found that rarely interpreters of the Quran deal with the interpretation of the Quranic verses, specifically the scientific ones, the scientific verses, or those verses which contain or allude to scientific content. They rarely discuss these in a fair way. I mean to say, some of Muslims are interested in showing the greatness of the Quran, claiming that the Quran has talked about the Big Bang for 1400 years before it was discovered, etc., etc. In my opinion, this approach is not very fruitful. This approach is not very fruitful because what they call i'jaz is not the purpose of i'jaz in the Quran, as far as I can see, is not to lay down scientific theories or scientific laws of nature, etc. It's rather to show the Quran is authentic as a divine message and is not something that has been written by somebody called Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet Muhammad was receiving the Quran. The Quran was revealed to him in its exact words. And this is what makes the Quran unique, by the way. The Quran is not like any authored book, including the religious books, with all respect to the religious books like the Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament. But I think people know already that these books has been written by people who say, listen to Jesus Christ, or listen to the clerics, or even if you go to the Torah, it has been received by people after Moses. And the Bible, the Christian Bible, or the 4 versions of the Bible, has been written by 4 people at least, if not more. The Quran is not written by Muhammad or any of his followers, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Muhammad received the Quran in exact wording, the Arabic wording, revealed to him, and he was narrating what is revealed to him. And this has been shown in the Quran by saying, do not move your tongue with the words of the Quran before being revealed to you. It's, tracking the attention of Muhammad bin Abdullah to this fact that the Quran is a divine, is cast by the divine. And that is why we have sometimes problems in understanding the Quran. Why? Because the Quran, as it is sourced from the divine knowledge, and because the divine knowledge is absolute, it's not changing, it's fixed. And because this knowledge has to be conveyed to the people through the messenger, through the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then it has to be cast in the exact wording, which makes it true all the time. Otherwise, if no such thing has been taken care of by the divine, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the Quran will find the Quran after 1 or 2 centuries after Muhammad that it's nothing is wrong. That's why the Quran is very, very accurate in expressing the facts about, some facts about nature, human being, and creation, many things. This has not been understood in the exact meaning of it. And I only tried actually. I am trying here to express what I understand using science, the facts of science, and the Arabic language. And this is very important. Notwithstanding some other interpretations or old interpretations, because sometimes the old interpreter of the Quran has expressed different meaning from what actually the Arabic word mean, following certain, certain knowledge of the time sometimes, And that's why you said, somebody will come and say, well, some of the interpreters like Ibn Kathir or any other one, Qurtubi, or is saying something different from what you're saying. How did they get this? Well, the judge in this case is the accurate Arabic language and the science. And the accurate Arabic language comes before. I mean, I cannot try to maneuver or play with or manipulate the language to fit science. I shouldn't do that, of course. And I have followed this all in my, that's why you find in the last chapter of the book is what I call the problematic verses.
That's actually something I wanted you to talk about later on, actually. I did pick that up, but I just want to ask, obviously looking at the book and I read then, as you know, that throughout the times, people have different understandings. As we go through the ages, as we go through the times, science develops and we have new understanding of what science is and the new theories and so on. And you've actually said in this book that you relate the Quran and science to the modern age, which is key, because you're talking about today's time rather than what happened 1,000 years ago or how it was related to those times. So I'm glad about that. But do you think today, because this from my own experience, a lot of Muslims get excited when they see that when science discovery is made, it's already mentioned in the Quran. So the science has proven the Quran rather than the Quran proving science, right? Do you ever feel that?
Yeah, true. When we say the science proves the Quran, we mean to say that it is proving the authentic source of the Quran. Because there are things, in the Quran, which I mentioned here, many verses, pointing to certain knowledge, which everybody knows that Muhammad did not acquire that knowledge at that time. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had no, even his society, even the whole world, have no understanding, no such understanding. But it was contained within. Well, you will ask me, but how can such a knowledge be contained? For example, إذا الشمس كورت. إذا الشمس كورت. When the sun is, what should we say now in English? Dimmed, not accurate. Light goes away, not accurate. What does it mean, kuwirat? Why should the Quran say kuwirat? If you go to the old interpretation of this verse specifically, you will see that they say kuwirat means that on the day of judgment, the sun will fade away, But does it mean kuwirat in Arabic, in the accurate Arabic? Takwir, kuwirat, does it mean fade away? Does it mean light going away? Does it mean shrink? Yes. Part of these meanings are already there. The accurate meaning is kuwirat, that it gets shrunk, plus while moving. التكوير in Arabic ضم الشيء بعضه إلى بعض. Takwir means I have to collect the thing, whatever it is, onto itself. That is to say, it will collapse on itself. At the same time, it is rotating. That's why it's called takwir. And in Arabic, they always say, if you go to the lections, وَمِنْهُ تَكْوِيرُ الْعَمَامَةِ. When you wear a amama, what you do?
Yeah.
Adding up your big sheet of cloth and get it to become amama. And this is takwir. And this is exactly what will happen, for example, at the late stages of the age of the sun. The sun will be Kuwirat in the end and will become a white dwarf.
I mean,
as astrophysics is telling us.
I mean, looking at the book, mashallah, you know, there's a lot of references. There's Quranic verses everywhere, and you've got diagrams to support everything, which is fantastic because they say, you know, a picture paints 1,000 words. So I think it's fantastic that you actually put that a lot of diagrams in there just to describe what you're trying to say, which is fantastic. And you've also referred to people, you know, such as Stephen Hawking, Sayyid Muhammad Naqib al-Attas, you know, Sayyid Hussein Nasr. So you are referring to, you know, well-known and established figures in terms of what you're trying to convey. But just one quick question before we move on. The last sentence that I read about your introduction, where it says that, you know, you specialize in the field of kalam, because as we know, within the Muslim religion, there's people who are for kalam and there's people not for kalam, against the kalam. But what we don't want to go into that debate, but what I want to ask you is, how important is the knowledge of kalam to understanding your topic in this book?
Yeah, kalam has nothing to do with this part of my work. The Quran is independent of kalam. In fact, kalam, the Quran can be one major source for proper kalam. And you may ask me, what do you mean by proper kalam? Well, as far as I can see, again, after studying the whole kalam and many books which is available now, all books about kalam, I find that the mutakallimun has made a mistake. Kalam is actually two parts, I find. One dealing with nature and the other dealing with the divinity, aqaid. The part of kalam which deals with nature was very good, still valid now, and I claim that this part constitutes the true philosophy of Islamic philosophy of nature. That's why I titled my book, which is yet to be published in English, Daqiq al-Kalam, the Islamic philosophy of nature. The other part, which is unfortunate, is the Jalil al-Kalam, which is the research in divine attributes, qada'un, qadar, the heavens, all the parts which got related to divinity, is something, in my opinion, beyond the intellect, beyond the capability of our intellect. We should go to the Quran. And if the Quran talks about the attributes of God, we should take it as it is. We should not go and mess too much about the divinity and the properties or the attributes of the divine, because this is something beyond our mental capabilities. What's within our mental capabilities? This world, the space, the time, the motion, the force, the everything which is in nature in the world can be verified. But how can I judge the divinity within my measures, very limited measures, while the divine is absolute? And that's why in the Islamic circle, you see that many Muslims consider kalam as not an authentic science. There is something which is not, doesn't help you in strengthening your belief, and it could rather harm your belief. This is correct if you are talking about Jalil al-Kalam. But if you go to Daqiq al-Kalam, which is the questions of nature and natural behavior, etc., and the laws of nature, you will find that Daqiq al-Kalam is a great philosophy
Fantastic. Now, the reason I wanted to touch on the problematic verses chapter, which is the last chapter, chapter 9 in the book, is because I seem to be more interested in that than anything else. But one of the questions before we go into that chapter, I just wanted to ask, because you've titled it problematic verses. Now, a lot of people use the excuse that I don't want to read the translation of the Quran because I might misunderstand something, and therefore it may affect my belief or my iman. So hence, I don't want to read it. I don't want to understand it. I'll just go to an imam and he'll just explain it to me. I don't want to put any effort in learning it myself. Do you think that's a true, is that how it should be understood, or is that incorrect? Because the Quran is for the masses.
In my opinion, no, there is nothing to fear about our belief, etc. And these problematic verses, I will give an example. Nowadays on TV and show, not on TV, mainly in social media, you find people saying that the Quran is not accurate. The Quran is, how can you talk? Some people write to me, you know, on my Facebook page, you are a great scientist. How you believe in a Quran? Believe me, I received several times such, you are a great scientist. You have shown that you are quite knowledgeable in physics and cosmology. How the hell you believe in Quran, which is written 1400 years ago, etc. And when I discuss with them, what's your problem? He said, the Quran says that the heavens are walls or roofs or building. There is no such thing. Heavens are empty space. Oh, here comes a problematic verse. This is one of the problematic verse. You should understand what does it mean to say that the heavens is being built by hands. And then what is hands? And here, Nasser, is very important, very, very important. When we say majaz, something which is not directly meant. Some people say, no, you mean to say that this is not true. The Quran is not true. It's not the case. The Quran is true, and the majaz is in the Quran. When you say yadullahi, fawqa aydihim, is it that God has a hand? Does it contain 5 fingers or 6 or 7 or 8? So what does it mean to say yadullahi fawqa aydihim? The hand of God is with their hands or on top of their hands. It means the force, the power, the support. That's what it means. So here comes the metaphor. It is a metaphor. When we talk about metaphor, we don't mean that the actual entity does not exist. No, it exists. The hand of God exists, but shouldn't be understood as something looking like our hands. And then we will question whether it contains how many fingers, and then whether it has nails or not nails, etc. This is the wrong, unfortunately, wrong understanding, which has been brought by the literal understanding of the words. And there I find different meanings. Yeah. For example, also, somebody told me once, Dr. Tai, you are a professor of cosmology. Haven't you heard about the ever-expanding universe? In 1998, it was discovered that the universe is accelerating. Second, the analysis of cosmic microwave background radiation have shown that the universe is flat, geometrically is flat. And if the universe is geometrically flat, as you know from your specialized knowledge, then it will go ever expanding. It will never collapse. But your Quran is telling me يوم نطوي السماء كطي السجل للكتب, that the heavens one day will collapse. Now it is once and forever. It will not collapse. That's what science is telling us. And you still believe in the Quran. Believe me, that moment was a hard time for me. Because yes, here, the cosmic microwave background radiation, CMBR, which is very, very accurate measurements, is telling that the universe is flat. My own research, my own papers are telling me the equations, solving the equations of Einstein field equation, is telling me that the universe in the best represented or described by a flat universe, a flat space-time, I mean. Flat space-time, not a space, flat space-time, both. Because the space and time are both together in one entity. Okay, how to resolve that? I had a very bright student doing MSc with, at that time with me. This was in 2010, I think, 2010. His name is Munir, and he was atheist, by the way. I said, Munir, I want you to investigate the models, the cosmological models of flat models, specifically. Add to them a cosmological constant, because the CMB, which discovered that the universe is flat, has also discovered that the universe contains a non-zero cosmological constant. So you have to add that in the model. And then solve the Einstein field equations. He was really mathematically genius, this Munir, really. And he did. And he solved the Einstein field equations with cosmological constant, by the way. You have to add it, because the same observations, which is telling you that the universe is flat, is telling you that there is a... And he found that there are possible solutions. Possible, I would say. It's not the only solution. Yes, I agree. But possible solution that the universe will collapse. How it will collapse? And here comes the real miracle, you know. It collapses. This is a flat surface. This is in 2D. This is in 2D. It's 2 dimensions. It's an approximation, by the way. And it collapsed this way until becoming a line. A line. So it's not a sphere that is collapsing. It's a flat sheet of paper being rolled. And if you go to the ayah 104 from Anbiya, it will tell you يوم نطوي السماء كطي السجل. Sijil means a piece of paper or anything you write on it. It's sijil. When you write on it, it becomes kitab. The sijil is any blank sheet of paper or any blank piece of wood. When you write on it, it becomes a book. It's not a book, actually. It's the meaning of a book. That's a message. Becomes a message to be delivered. And how they deliver it? They roll it like that and becomes a kitab. هذا كتابي إليك. This is my letter to you. It becomes a letter. As in the old days. So they understood it. That the whole heavens will be rolled off. Exactly. This is one possible solution. So you don't tell me that the universe will never collapse. There is a scientific verification with mathematical accurate calculations, which says that the universe, the flat universe, will collapse. Nobody would. Yeah.
SubhanAllah, very, very deep, mashallah. You know, I wanted to ask you, because a lot of people who go into science, especially students, where their faith is half off, they're not really, you know, really practicing or really religious or know their aqidah, you know, convincingly. But as soon as they go to universities, they start learning about the things that you've just mentioned, they end up leaving the deen, hence atheism.
You are right. Brother Nasser, there are key points which we have to tackle, we have to give attention to. One is that people believe that the mere existence of the natural law negates the intervention of God. Because there is law, because there is order in the universe, I don't need God. That's what many physicists believe, and this is wrong, because God does not rule the universe magically, miraculously. God, Almighty God, rules the universe through laws. Without these laws, we wouldn't have been able to understand his divinity, his greatness, his great creation. Without the laws, you cannot understand God. Suppose that the universe was, you know, hunky-bunky chaos all the time. What's the need of God then? What for? You say create, order, it's not created, it's not ordered. Why should I believe in God? But if you have a highly ordered universe, controlled by laws, and you can verify every bit, then you will believe in that. But then comes the question, if every law is a must, is a necessity, again, I don't need God. Therefore, the law should not apply deterministically. And that is the second key point in Ilhad, you know. And quantum mechanics, thank God, has proven, has shown that the world is indeterministic. What does it mean indeterministic? It means that the natural phenomena is probabilistic. Okay, what we can do in physics, we always calculate the probability of contingencies, of states, of anything. We can calculate the probabilities. Okay, but does the probability happens to be at the same value? No, sometimes a very, very low probabilistic event happens. Why? Physics says we don't know. This is the indeterministic nature. The question, my question is, who is playing with this probability? Paul Davies, when he was atheist and when he wrote the book Accidental Universe, he said in that book, Paul Davies, well-known, you know, physicist, he said, if you study the laws of the creation of the universe, the very early creation of it, you will certainly conclude that a superpower or super genius has played the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology to make possible the existence of a human being. Played. There were a hand, there were a force, a superpower. Through what? Through indeterminism. And many people do not know that the natural phenomena is indeterministic, actually. And this is no miracle. It's a law, but the work of a law is always connected with the divine, with the superpower. What do we mean by divine? What do we mean by Allah? We mean a force beyond space and time. control beyond the space and time. And this is how should we understand God. God is Almighty, is a superpower beyond even our comprehension. We hardly comprehend this universe, but we believe in God. That is why you have to believe in God, Nasser, not only through intellectual facts or what you see. This is only supporting facts. Iman is in your heart. Either you accept or you refuse. You don't accept, okay. You are free to reject. But then we will ask you to deliberate this world, how it comes to being, how it is working.
MashaAllah. I've got one question. I was looking through some of the topics in the book, and you've talked about the Big Bang as well. It's just a quick question regarding that. I've met some Muslims who actually say that, well, they actually say we believe in the Big Bang theory, and we don't feel it contradicts Islam. I said, well, why is that? So, well, doesn't Islam say that Allah wanted to be known? Then he created with his own hands the universe. It took him 6 days to create, and then rested on the 7th day. So the Big Bang theory says there was nothing there, and then gases formed, and then there was a bang, and everything was formed. Doesn't that match with Islam? What would you say to that?
Yeah, well, we have to know that theories are theories, and Quran is Quran. The Quran is not theories or collection of a theory. The Quran is not a book of science or chemistry, physics, or it's a book of hidayah. It's directing the peoples. And when you come to the Big Bang, the Quran has directed us to the following facts. One, that the universe has a beginning. And the Big Bang's theory, so to speak, has shown that, has a beginning. Second, that water is an essential part in the living animals or creatures. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. That's why it says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. This may point to the Big Bang, by the way. And it also may point to the formation of the solar system. Then it says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. You know, it jumps from the beginning of the universe to the ma, which is the water. Water comes much later, by the way, because hydrogen was formed, then other elements, helium, etc. And the oxygen was not formed until stars were already formed, according to science. And this is part of the established facts. I mean, when one talk about science and Islam, you should always be careful. Talk about established facts. Don't talk about dubious or problematic facts in science already, or theories, because there are many theories. So in science, we already know that heavy elements above lithium are cooked inside the stars. So it's a long time to have water in the universe. But then, until now, nobody can prove that a living creature can be formed without water. No, water is essential in every living creature. That's why when we look in exoplanets now, first thing we ask, do we have liquid water in that planet, extraterrestrial planets? Now we have about 4,500 discovered, but none contain life. I supervised 3 MSc theses, about habitability of extraterrestrial planets, and we couldn't find any nominee for life in these planets. Difficult, not easy, very complicated, conditions, very critical conditions. So it's no wonder that we could be alone in this galaxy or even in the universe. Yeah.
Mashallah, I think this is a very fascinating field, and I'm really happy that I've had you on today to talk about it. And I would suggest that if anybody wants to learn more, then please do purchase this book on Amazon, The Divine Word and the Grand Design by Dr. Basil Altaie. You will really find it amazing. It's like, say, it's got Quranic verses throughout, and as you can see, some diagrams there as well. So it's definitely fascinating and something that you should read. And basically, Dr. Basil, just a quick question about the book. And how long did it take you to actually write this and research it?
Well, this book specifically has taken from me about 6 months to write.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 6 months to write it and review it again and again.
But it's fully referenced.
Actually, if you go back to the information contained therein in the book, yeah, you will find it took 40 years maybe. Yeah. Some of its collection of information which has grown over the years with my experience. Because my interest in understanding the Quran already started when I was a PhD student. And I was studying the Quran not as for worship, by the way. Tell you the truth. For sometimes in my early days, I was not taking care of to read the Quran for worship. No, I was reading the Quran to understand it. And there is something which I may tell maybe later, how I really became to believe the Quran. I was shocked in an incident, because I'll tell you very quickly. I was reading the Quran, and whenever I find something really stunning, I go and make sujood without wudu. I go and make sujood because it's not not a worship, but it is acknowledging.
Subhanallah. Yeah.
Until I reach Surah Al-Isra. Surah Al-Isra. At the end of Surah Al-Isra, it says, وَبِالْحَقِّ أَنزَلْنَاهُ وَبِالْحَقِّ نَزَلْ. We revealed this Quran with the truth, and with the truth it was revealed to you. وقرآنا فرقناه على الناس لتقرأه على مكث ونزلناه. إن الذين, those who has knowledge before it was revealed, before they read it, they know that it is the truth. إن الذين أوتوا العلم من قبله, إن الذين أوتوا العلم من قبله إذا يتلى عليهم. If the Quran is read by them, they go and make sujood. And then I was, shocked. This Quran is telling me what I was doing in the last week when I was reading the Quran. So I went and make sujood, but this time I was crying. And when I returned back and opened the Quran to read the verse, it says, and they fall, they make sujood, and they cry. So I said, what's this? There is a camera. No. See me, what I'm doing. It's very strange, really very strange. That I was crying or weeping, when I was making sujood, and then I come back and read, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ وَيَخِرُّونَ لِلْأَذْقَانِ يَبْكُونَ. They make sujood to their cheek or and they cry, they weep. وَيَزِيدَهُمْ خُشُوعًا. And this increases their belief and their modesty.
That's an amazing story, and that's something I've read many times, but you actually applied it to today. That's absolutely amazing to hear. Jazakumullah khairan for
every
that.
time I remember this incident,
it's amazing.
I cannot go back.
Yeah.
Nasser, finished.
Mm.
Iman
Subhanallah.
has been proven to me as a person. Maybe to others not. I pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give the Iman to everybody, with such a stunning moment.
Conviction, inshallah. Dr. Basil, that's absolutely amazing. I think we need to go through the book with you. So we need to get you down to Nottingham for a day's course or something. Get our viewers, listeners, inshallah, have a day's course, inshallah. It'd be fantastic to have you at our institute where we can actually go through this book as well. It's absolutely, it's a fascinating field.
This would be a very good course, but not one-day course, I believe. I believe 10 lectures will be needed to cover the whole book, because there are certain key posts that you have to stand by and to convey the full message.
Fantastic. But I think we definitely need to get you down to Kareem Institute in Nottingham. And I think all the viewers out there and the listeners at a later date as well, that if you are interested, then if you are interested in showing interest, then please do email me at info@radiodawn.com and we can speak to Dr. Basil and hopefully persuade him to come down and deliver something for us, just for the day or weekend or whatever suits you, Dr. Basil, inshallah. But Jazakumullah khair, I really appreciate you taking time out today. I know you pushed for time and we took a lot of your time as well. It's a field where you can just keep going. You just don't want to stop. Once you start, you just want to keep listening and keep going through it.
That's right. That's right.
Inshallah. So just for those people.
ثبتنا يا ثابت بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. Praying for God to make us always understand the right thing.
I mean, so Dr. Basil, just a quick thing then. In terms of your current project, because I know you mentioned that you're doing some papers in Arabic and English. Can you just let the viewers know what you're working on at the moment? So apart from this, what else can they expect from you?
Well, since about 3 months or 4 months ago, I have devoted my time fully to the fundamental questions in physics. And as I told you, I'm working on quantum time. Only 2 days ago, I was in a conference, attending a conference, online conference about quantum time, which was held in Geneva. And this is very, very important. I have written in Arabic, my Facebook page in Arabic, and sometimes I translate it and put it in my Kalam page. By the way, I have a Kalam page. It's called Kalam, but not very well known. I write in English. I translate what I write in Arabic into English. And I wrote about quantum time in this page.
So if there's anybody who wants to know more about your work or wants to follow you, maybe get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can communicate with me, through emails, through my page, Facebook page. Sometimes Shuaib, Dr. Shuaib also communicate with me. He's a friend of mine, and we always, discuss things. In his book about evolution, he contacted me several times to express my opinion there.
Fantastic.
Because I have a special attitude or understanding of the biological evolution, which I express in terms of what we call directed evolution. Evolution does not negate the existence of God. Every step in evolution is known to God and is directed by God.
Mashallah. So all those viewers and listeners out there, if you missed some part of this, don't worry. It will be recorded. It is recorded on the Kareem Institute Facebook and YouTube page. You can watch it at a later date, but please do share this with all your friends and family. It's an important subject. It's good to know more about the subject. Maybe start off something for yourself, and definitely check this book out on Amazon or Beacon Books. It's an absolutely amazing book, full of quotes, references and diagrams, and I'm sure you'll get a better understanding at the end of it. And if you want to get in touch with Dr. Basil, inshallah, you can always contact us on info@radiodawn.com and we can pass that information across to him. Dr. Basil, once again, thank you very much for joining us, inshallah. Hopefully soon we'll have you down at Kareem Institute where we can meet you in person and benefit from you, inshallah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I hope.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We'll meet again, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan, Dr. Basil. Wassalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.